GB3 Championship, and there's 2 more this weekend here on the penultimate weekend of the season at Donington Park. I'm pleased to say the sun is out. It's getting a little bit warmer this morning after torrid, windy, wet, just incredibly bitterly cold conditions yesterday, but we still saw some great racing, and it's Alex Ninovic's weekend so far after winning the first race of the weekend, and he leads the championship as well. But he won't start on pole position today because that is Reza Seewooruthun. We'll get on to him in just a second. I'm Jon Jackson, joined by Piers here at Donington Park. You can see behind us fans streaming in from the car parks here, which is absolutely fantastic to see. A huge day of racing, and still plenty of time actually if you wanted to come down if you're in the local area. It's going to be a big day, and a British GT's on as well, and GB4 and loads of other stuff with the Genettas going round as well. And GB3 is really hotting up now, Piers, and it looks like, well, I mean, it is Alex Ninovic's championship to lose at this point.
Yeah, he really has to do something seriously wrong to not win now. He's extending his already large championship lead, winning the race yesterday in fairly dominant fashion, although doesn't have it as all his own way. Reza Seewooruthun, who finished second yesterday, is going from pole today, his first pole position that he's earned in a qualifying session. So I'm looking forward to seeing a good race between those two. Great to see Reza really build with the Argenti with Prema team this year. They struggled at the start of the year, now genuinely fighting for race wins at the end of the year. Yeah,
it's going to be a good battle for sure. Let's just remind ourselves of what happened yesterday in the first race of the weekend here at Donington Park.
Highlights from round 19 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, as the first race will get underway at Donington Park. A stall on the grid, unfortunately, for Anurag. He would be able to get back going again, but obviously at the rear of the field. Bit of contact into the first corner, though, as Patrick Heuzenroeder was squeezed out wide by Noah Lyle, and through in the second position would become Seewooruthun, up into that second spot behind, of course, our race leader, Ninovic. Patrick Heuzenroeder would retake over third position before the batter would take them down to the Fogger TS. Door wide open with a bit of a mistake, and it would allow Kai Daryanani back into the mix. Some big moves coming from some of those up and down the order, but unfortunately there would be a bit of contact, and the number 48 of Liam McNeely would be pushed off into the gravel. It would cause a safety car. We got back underway. There was this unbelievable move around the outside from Lyle to take third position away from Deegan Fairclough. Some brutal moves happening further down the order as Tarnvanitschko would squeeze off the number 78 of Jack Sherwood. Wouldn't be the only one going off wide at the old hairpin, as Deegan Fairclough would also go out wide there, whilst he was feeling a lot of pressure from Patrick Heuzenroeder in the battle for fourth position. Heuzenroeder would find the inside going into Coppice and would squeeze his way through on the high-tech TGR driver, allowing the two teammates to then battle for fifth position. Straight around the outside would be Keanu Alazari, also opening up some of the doors further back. Unfortunately for Alazari, though, there was this moment late on in the race. It would cause a safety car as he would crash out, and that safety car would end the race. Out through the final corner, Ninovic would take a 7th victory of 2025.
Yeah, great race for Alex Ninovich, as we mentioned there, but also a great race for several other drivers. We saw some great battles out there. Shame about the safety cars, actually, Piers, before I talk about Abbey Pulling. We had a couple there, and hopefully we won't get any more today, because we like seeing close racing, but safety cars are obviously there for safety. That's why they're called the safety car, but, you know, can nullify what is exciting racing, isn't it? It must be frustrating to be a driver knowing that you had the speed behind someone, or you thought you could pass them, and then suddenly safety car ends the race.
Quite often you're just lining up a move and then the safety car boards come out and you're like, oh well. But it's a necessity of racing, and it actually, to be fair, brings the race closer together and allows drivers that maybe have fallen back to get back in touch with the lead group. So there's pros and cons.
Of course there is, and they are here mainly, as I say, for safety, so they have to be here. Now look, Abbey Pulling started off the season coming into this championship with the F1 Academy Championship, a lot of fanfare there. 5th in her first race, which was really impressive. Some kind of mixed results there, but actually the last race before this weekend at Brands Hatch, her first podium in GB3 in the reverse grid race at Brands Hatch. So things have been going stronger and stronger for her. And 7th in yesterday's race. You must have been impressed by what you've seen in what is a very strong Rodin team.
Yes, of course, Alex Ninovich leading the way in the terms of the championship, but Abbey has had, you mentioned already, strong start to the year and some mixed results throughout the middle, trying to kick on for the end of the year. That podium has given her a bit of confidence. Yesterday, actually very disappointing for both Abbey and her teammate Gianmarco Pradel, as well as the two elite drivers here this weekend. Didn't weigh after qualifying, procedural mistake on their part, which meant that they were disqualified from qualifying. Have to start from the back of all three of the races this weekend, but she managed to go from 17th on the grid to 7th, closely followed by a teammate who went from 18th to 8th. So very, very close. Very, very good racecraft from those drivers, and they'll be looking to replicate that once again today.
Yeah, it could be a repeat of that, another opportunity for Abbey to make up some places. And after her 7th place finish yesterday, Piers caught up with her.
Abby, disappointing qualifying, unfortunately disqualified from that, but you made up for it with a good race in race 1.
Yeah, I mean, we've been so fast all weekend. I've been in the top 5 majority of the testing, really showing my pace. Qualifying was a bit up and down, but yeah, a bit frustrated after that and just didn't weigh, got disqualified, which is my mistake, but quite a hefty one. Starting from the back, yeah, made a lot of places, especially when the race was a safety car for a bit of it. So yeah, really happy with that. Yeah, if that doesn't show what kind of racing driver I am, I don't know what will.
Well, you say you're pretty high. I can tell you're deflated because you wanted to, if you used that pace and that racecraft that you showed in that race, put from a high grid position. But it must be somewhat encouraging to know you come from the back, considering you do have to do it, unfortunately, again in race 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've come out fighting, and I think, yeah, I just wanted to show that I'm not here to finish at the back. I'm here to move forward if I'm in a situation like that, make the most out of it. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we did, making me and my teammate making the most place on the grid. And yeah, I think I just showed my might, and I just can't thank everyone enough around me who's helping me, road in cars, F1 Academy, everyone that's got me in this position.
And I suppose to a certain extent, at this late stage in the season, there are some championship positions to be, 4-4. However, ultimately, this stage of the season, most things are wrapped up. I mean, Alex is away at the front of the field, and it's unlikely you're going to catch him now. But you can show what grit you have, how you can deal with adversities, and you're exposed to a certain extent in the long run. Potentially, you might learn more from a weekend like this than you would from a weekend where everything goes right.
Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a disturbed season, to say the least. But then again, I've made a lot of mistakes on my side as well. I just hope that these last 2 weekends I can show, people that it matters to, that I want to be here next year, and I've got the capabilities of being at the front. Just need to piece it together a little bit, but for sure, if I was to be able to come back next year, I want to show that I can, make that jump and really push forward. And I mean, the team are doing an amazing job. Alex leading the championship, Road in Motorsport, they're putting out a really good car, so I'm going to make sure, even though I'm starting at the back, I'm going to make sure I use that car throughout the rest of the weekend.
Abby, good grit and determination. We'll look forward to seeing you car through the field once again.
Thank you very much.
Abby Pulling, although she'll be starting at the back of the grid, we saw what she could do yesterday in these roading cars. Look, they've got them down pretty well, and we also saw, Jean-Marc and Pradel have a good race, but kind of affected by the fact that he was starting at the back as well. Let's talk about another driver that's graduated from GB4 all the way through to GB3, and that is Jack Sherwood. He was up in the top 10, mixing it about with the drivers there, but ended up finishing 11th. What have you made of his season so far?
Yeah, he's, as you mentioned, a driver that's come up from GB4. I don't think he's had the pace at times that he would have wanted, but towards the back end of this year, especially this weekend, he's really had good pace. I spoke to him on yesterday morning ahead of qualifying. He said, "No, in fact, he just walked behind the camera."
He's there, yeah.
You can't see him at home, but he's right behind the camera.
Don't speak too loudly if you're saying anything negative.
Exactly. No, but he said this weekend he's feeling really good, really confident. Has had good pace in dry and wet conditions. I think the XL Motorsports team, it's their first year in GB3. They've moved forward throughout the year. Pat Heuzenroeder leading the ship on that as a more experienced driver in GB3, and he's qualified well. He was up there and was fighting inside the top 7, 6, 5 positions. Unfortunately, you saw in the highlights of yesterday's race, came together with Enzo Tarvanichkul at the old hairpin, which hampered both their races, so he finished just outside the top 10. But he'll be hoping to go and try and get another strong top 10. He's in this one actually not qualified so well, starting 13th in this one, so he'll have to work hard to get back inside the top 10. But I think he's going to be one that'll be making some moves, and we know how good he is at overtaking. That's always been a strength.
It's always a driver that gives it his all, isn't he, Jack Sherwood? Well, he's just over there. I won't tell you what he's doing, but let's hear what he had to say when Piers talked to him yesterday.
Jack, a chaotic race 1 out of the way so far. Not the race you wanted, but it looked like it was pretty punchy from the word go.
Yeah, for sure. From lights out, it was pretty chaotic. I think, it's what we love, though. We love it to be like that. Made a good move on Kai quite early on in the race. It was a bit borderline whether I was going to get it done or not, but luckily, he left me room and we got through okay. So, yeah, for sure, it's the way the coin falls sometimes. Sometimes you lose positions, and it was a bit unfortunate with the collision with the VRD, but the pace is there and looking forward to the next 2.
Yeah, there's a couple of little battle scars on the car behind us now, but I'm sure the team will buff them out ready for tomorrow. And let's talk about tomorrow. It's pretty strong qualifying from yourself inside the top 10. Talk to us about your outlook into that race. That qualifying was also in wet conditions. prefer it wet or dry? Have you got a preference?
I think we've had good pace in both conditions, so I'm not really too fussed. The quali in the wet didn't quite go our way, just with traffic and managing tyre temperatures. But for sure, I'm confident in both conditions, and whichever way it falls tomorrow for race 2 and 3, I'm happy with.
Well, it was an entertaining race for us. Hopefully you can provide more entertainment tomorrow.
Yeah, I will hope so.
There we are, Jack Sherwood. Let's see if we can put in a great performance in this upcoming race. Piers, I think we might get a little bit of rain. I don't think it's going to affect things too much, but it's just this weekend's ridiculous here. We had mad wind yesterday. We had the storm. It was like watching that Big Storm TV or whatever it's called. Big Flight. What's it called? The one with the planes.
Big Jet
TV. It was like watching Big Jet TV here, but without planes, more with awnings flying around. And today, the sun's been out this morning and it's been lovely. And now these big dark rain clouds come over. I guess it's not going to affect things too much, but we might get some little spatters of rain, I think. I don't know, it looks a bit ridiculous. But there we go. The cars are getting into place right now. We have a reverse grid race coming up later on, which can be all kinds of chaos. And I think for Alex Ninovich, who's leading this championship, and any other driver around him, they're going to want to have a nice clean race. And I think Patrick Heuzenroeder is going to want a clean race, because still technically in with a chance, I think. Patrick Heuzenroeder, he's been up and about, another Australian driver, but I kind of drifted off a little bit recently.
Well, I don't think he's actually drifted off too far. I think it's just Ninovich has doubled down on the pace he had at the start of the year and have been almost untouchable towards the end of this year. Heuzenroeder still sits in second place in the championship, right there or thereabouts. He's leading that battle for second, because there's about 3 or 4 drivers that are within touching distance of taking that second place, and that would be a big achievement for them when you've got someone dominating the championship like Ninovich. Second, as much as it is best to the rest, it's still something for those drivers to aim for and then use to potentially get good seats, to get good opportunities in their career going forward. And who knows, Ninovich might go on to amazing things. And if you say, I was just behind Ninovich, then it's a stamp of approval on your CV as a racing driver.
There's definitely a few people around who are like, I beat Nigel Mansell once. Have you ever beaten anyone famous?
Lando Norris in a charity kart race?
Yeah, but charity means he wasn't trying. No? Don't worry. You'll beat someone one day.
Thanks, Jonas.
Reverse grid race winner at Alder Park 2020.
Yeah,
anyway, sorry?
Beat everyone that day.
You beat everyone that day, yeah. Because how many? They were all there.
Let's move on.
They were all there, weren't they?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, good. Let's hear from Patrick Heuzenroeder.
Pat, a solid race in race 1. We just had a quick chat off camera. You finished roughly where you started, but a pretty feisty race out there.
Yeah, it was very busy out there. I mean, from a little bit of contact in turn 1 with Noah to then dropping back a couple of positions and having to do a fair bit of work throughout the race. But, very happy to be honest, from where I was in the middle of the race to finish 4th.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a solid haul of points. I know losing some more points potentially to Alex Ninovich, but in your bid for, let's say, second in the championship, because Alex is some way up the road, it must be pretty solid considering how changeable the weather conditions. There's been a lot of variables. You're still able to bang in the results.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the wind in that race was highly unpredictable. I think a couple of us got caught out a few times, but all equally. And then we've obviously had a bit of wet weather around, so I'm not sure what tomorrow holds, but either way, I just enjoy the changing conditions and having to maximise the car.
Well, let's talk about that wind actually, because I spoke about it on commentary, but I haven't driven a GB3 car around Brands or Donington in the windy conditions for a long time now. It seemed like there was a few times drivers running wide, especially the old hairpin. Is that where the wind was strongest?
Yeah, the wind was a headwind into turn 1, so you get into turn 1, then you get the wind under your rear wing, so that picks up the traction. Then you head down the hill, and Deegan and I actually got like massive gusts at once turning in, and it gets under the rear wing, so the rear tyres lose grip, and then that carries you all the way up the hill. McGlade's was a bit tricky to turn into, and then Coppice was whatever wind gust you got was the amount of grip you had. So it was definitely changeable, but really good fun.
Yeah, how do you manage that? Because when the grip as it feels due to the wind changes lap on lap, how do you manage it?
Oh, mate, I guess you just got to have a baseline and then get ready to catch it, to be honest.
Yeah. Quick hands.
Yeah, quick hands, yeah.
Amazing. Right, looking forward to the final day here at Donington Park. We've got race 2 and then, of course, the reverse grid. What are you looking at? Do you mind if it's wet or dry? What sort of outlook have you got for the rest of the weekend? Yeah,
look, to be honest, we've definitely got a stronger car in the dry, and I think that proved in race 1 today. So I would prefer that, but to be honest, I love driving in the wet, so, it gives us a bit more of a challenge, and perhaps more moves can be made. So I'm happy either way, but just looking to, minimise points to Alex and maximise points to the boys behind.
Amazing. Pat, well, good luck tomorrow. We'll see how you get on then.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Great driver, Pat Heuzenroeder, has been around for a couple of full seasons in GB3. Don't know what he's doing next season. Maybe we'll see him back here. But if he's not back here, then it's been great working with him. He's always a great character around the paddock. As we look at Reza Seewooruthun getting ready to go off from pole position. I think this is his first pole position in GB3, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is, and he's going to be looking to make the best use of it. We've seen that he can win races. Hungary, the reverse grid race, if you remember, dominant victory in that one, so he knows how to lead from the front, although he didn't have Ninovic right behind him that day, so he's got someone pushing him hard in this one.
Excellent stuff. Well, as he gets into the car, let's hear what he had to say ahead of this race.
Reza, pole position. I know that must feel pretty good.
Yeah, first one of the season. It's been a long time coming. It feels greater than ever.
I could see the smile on your face. It must mean a lot, especially considering how tricky the conditions were out there. We had a dry session one where you had an okay session, but then in that wet second qualifying session, up there from the start and deliver when you needed to.
Yeah, it's just a case of who can adapt, really. Trying to go from dry where you got all the grip in the world to wet where you haven't got the grip. I think just whoever could find where it was and try some different lines at the start, found the grip and made it happen.
I think arguably your season's been getting stronger and stronger. Every round you've got better and better. And is this a culmination of all the efforts that you and the team at Argentina with Prema have put together this year?
Yeah, the team have been putting in a lot of effort. We've had some very tough weekends where everyone's been down in the dumps, but now with the momentum building up, it's been nice for everyone. Everyone's getting happy, everyone's working together really well, and the results are showing it.
Yeah, absolutely. We know you've tasted victory this season already before. You're going to try and emulate that this weekend? Of course, I know that's your goal, but it's not going to be easy with the likes of Alex behind you.
100%, I say he's got a championship to fight for. We got nothing to lose, so definitely going to be going for it.
I look forward to that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, there we go. He's getting strapped into his car. He'll be leading us off shortly. I know, Piers, you want to talk about the driver that's going to be starting on the second row of the grid in his second GB3 race in the red and white Fortec car with them for this weekend, Liam McNeely.
Yeah, Liam McNeely, first race weekend in GB3. He was with us in GB4 in previous seasons. Very strong driver right up in the championship and those. We know he's strong. Been racing in America mostly this year.
You can see it from his race suit.
Yeah, as you can see.
Jay Howard driver.
Development, yeah, exactly. So he's probably not quite used to the autumnal weather here in Donington. He'll be keeping warm, but very strong showing considering he's not had as much running in these cars as a lot of the drivers around him. Although this qualifying session, or the qualifying session that set this grid, was done in wet conditions on wet tyres. We're now on slicks and slick conditions that will be dry as far as we're aware. So potentially maybe slightly out of position if the pace isn't quite as quick in these dry conditions. Who knows? I mean, again, a very fast driver. He'll be learning as quickly as possible. But with the likes of Deegan Fairclough right behind him and Noah Lyle in 5th place, we might see some action around there if Liam McNeely can't replicate the pace he had in the wet conditions.
Yeah, I did chat to Deegan Fairclough yesterday after the race. I'm not sure if we'll hear from him in this show, but he'll start on the second row of the grid. And for Deegan to come into this as a reigning champion from last season,
record-breaking champion.
Yeah, record-breaking, like records constantly flying. Is this a kind of a reality hitting a little bit that obviously you can't have a season like that every season? Because I'm sure these drivers, and you'll know this, you can keep level-headed, but when you are breaking records, I'm pretty sure you can believe your own hype a little bit because you're doing so well.
Absolutely. I think this year has been a little bit of a reality check for Deegan. Very strongly last year, showed flashes of brilliance this year, but the consistency is what he needs. But this is a level up from the championship he did last year.
Yeah, it really is. Let's take a look then what it looks like to go around this track with our championship leader Alex Ninovic.
Let's ride on board championship leader Alex Ninovic of Rodin Motorsports. Took pole position here this weekend and also the Jack Cavill pole position cup. Down towards Redgate, brake very late into the corner, try and get to the curb, use the curb on the entry and watch out for track limits on the exit. We're now going to be completely flat out through Hollywood on the right and then the circuit drops away for the Craner curves. Whole point of Craner curves is to stay left to open up the old hairpin. A tailwind here this weekend makes it very tricky. A couple of bites of the steering for Alex this time. Now we're past the lowest point of the circuit, heading uphill through Schwantz to set up the entry of McLean's. Another tricky corner, blind on entry, goes light in the middle, and then again watch out for track limits on exit. Lap times will be deleted in qualifying, potentially penalties in the race. Another blind entry for Coppice now. Early on the power, roll the speed all the way around the outside onto the exhibition straight. DRS will be open in the race if you're within a second of the car in front. Very tricky, Fogarty S's. Get as close to the tyres on the left-hand side as you can, then use all the curb on the right-hand side. Minimum speed is crucial through there into the final sector. 2 more corners to go. The Melbourne hairpin now, braking downhill. We missed the first part of the apex. Bit of a wobble in the middle, and then nip the second apex, hard on power, all the way out to the exit curve. 1 corner to go, Goddard's. Again, another blind entry. all the way to the right-hand side, turn in before you can see the apex. A little wobble as we go over the crest, back to the apex, and completely flat out for a lap of the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit in the new for 2025 GB3 car.
There we go, a sight that Piers has seen many, many times driving around here at Brands Hatch at Donington Park. So it's early in the day and everybody made a mistake. Alex Dinovic, that was his view though, championship leader. Interestingly, Paul McNeely, I've just spotted, is over there with Liam McNeely. Paul McNeely runs Fox Motorsports, competing GB4. Obviously, Liam McNeely used to drive for him. And I remember here, actually, there was an incident where Liam McNeely went into the gravel. It was just over there on the hairpin. Very, it's similar to what happened yesterday, not like a serious thing. But Paul McNeely was quick on it. Before anyone else, he was on an electric scooter to make sure his son was all right. And it was a very nice moment, and it reminds you of the family bond that a lot of drivers have with their dads, their mums, other people that come and watch them. We've got people crowding around here, and you can just tell there's family members because they're only focused on one driver, and you can see them zooming in on their phones to get pictures, and it is a really nice thing. When you raced, did you have a big entourage, Piers?
It was during COVID, so no one was allowed at the track.
Of course, yeah, sorry. That wasn't even me setting that one up.
I was only allowed 2 people. It was my dad and like someone else.
Oh, well, it's fine. You still did well. So we're waiting for these cars to be released from here. What kind of feelings are the drivers feeling in this assembly area? Because sometimes they get held for a long time, and sometimes it seems quite short. We see drivers get in the car and then a couple of minutes later they're off. What kind of emotions are going through your head? Like if you're Alex Dinovic now knowing that, the title's there for you to grab with both hands, but if things go really badly over the next few races, then it could get a little bit tricky.
Do you know what? These drivers by this stage in their career have already done at least a season or 2 of single-seater racing, or if not more in other categories that go to younger drivers. So they're used to this feeling of getting themselves ready, getting themselves G'd up for the race. It's kind of every day. It's like a day at the office. It's very much your senses are heightened, your adrenaline is pumping, but it's normal. You feel like you're very much where you should be, and everything's just focusing on the main things, the outcomes they want for the race. So, nailing the formation line, getting the tyres in the right window. They'll be going through that in their head, nailing the race start. Where do they want to be, inside or outside? Thinking about what the tyre is going to feel like on the first lap. They'll be feeling that it's all this sort of, they're very much just procedural. Everything going through everything in their head, trying to keep out of their own head in a certain sense as well is important.
There are obviously bigger tyres on the GB3 cars this year, with it being cold, and we've had all kinds of different temperatures. Hungaroring was really hot this year, and we've had a range of different weathers. Not too much wet racing though. With these bigger tyres, is there any difference in how quickly they get up to temperature, given that it's quite a cold morning?
Yeah, we've had a new car for this year, so if anyone's watching this year for the first time, this is the first year we've run this chassis of car. New car for the year. It's been very popular, much quicker, much more grip, but it means that the tyres have got bigger. In theory, it means that they should be harder to heat up because there's more tyre mass there to get warm. But because we've got a bit more weight this year, a bit more power, the higher downforce as well, it's pretty much similar to last year. So on the first lap, the tyres won't be in exactly the right operating window, but the more temperature you can get into the tyres in that formation lap, the better you will be at the start of the race. And most of the drivers have got 2, if not 4 new tyres in this race. In fact, I think the first the front row of Seewooruthun and Dinovic, 2 left-hand side new tyres. Right-hand side new tyres. So they're actually just bringing those tyres in a bit more gently.
The closest tyre to us, you can see.
So that's the inside tyre on most of the corners around here at Donington Park. They're using a used tyre on the left-hand side because that tyre gets up to temperature a bit quicker than a brand new tyre. So allow them a bit more confidence on that first lap where it's easiest to lose positions.
Excellent. Right, let's have a look then. I'm just looking. There was a recovery vehicle. It looked like it might have been going out on track there for a second. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a slight delay. It looks like the marshals are going to the grid, so maybe we're going to be okay. I don't know. We can see a lot of marshals around us here. It looks like there's I don't know this for sure, there's a junior program, I believe, this weekend at Donington Park. There's a lot of younger marshals maybe getting their first experience of being around a racetrack, and I guess this is a great introduction to not only being around motorsport, but also the importance of what the marshals do.
Yeah, we couldn't go racing without the marshals. We see them most visibly here in the assembly area, organising the cars in the pre-grid and then getting them in the right positions and then sending them out onto the grid. But also there's marshals around the circuit that of course see to the cars, help the cars out the gravel, make sure the drivers are okay in any incident. So massive thank you to the Orange Army, because without them we need to go racing.
There's a lot of people around racetracks actually that don't get a shout out, so I'm going to shout them out now. There's a fella driving in the electric kind of ferry bus that takes people from the car parks here at Donington Park, which are a little bit hilly and they are kind of fields. If you've ever been to Download Festival, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He's been driving around people all weekend. He's been going backwards and forwards. You've probably seen him in the back of the shot. So shout out to him, just because I fancy giving him a shout out. But it's great to see everyone here doing great jobs, and they get here so early, and the weather is bitterly cold, so good shout out to all the work they do. You look like you want to ask me something.
No, you were talking about the junior programme for the Masters.
Yes.
We've also got 2 Formula 1 juniors on the grid this weekend. We've seen Kiana Walazari with the Alpine Junior programme in that bright pink hill high-tech car. We've also got Kabir Anurag joining us this weekend for XL Motorsport, another junior programme driver that's got their sights on Formula 1 already. And it's great to see these junior programmes putting faith in the GB3 Championship for their young drivers to give them opportunities to grow and learn and race against some of the best drivers at this level.
Yeah, of course, both part of Alpine, and it didn't get a great start yesterday, which I think is you're allowed, given that it's your first GB3 race, and it's a big change, isn't it, from maybe what you've been driving before?
Yes, I think Kabir's the first time he's raced at above F4 level. He's raced mostly F4 level. These cars are a big step up from F4 in terms of grip, power, aerodynamic grip, but also they're different to get off the line. They're a bit heavier. You have to be absolutely precise on the clutch pedal. We spoke about it briefly yesterday, but to get away from the line, the difference between a bog down or a stall or a perfect launch is a couple of millimetres and maybe a couple of hundred RPM.
You will have seen Alex Dunn, who raced in GB3 a couple of years ago. He's left the McLaren young driver programme. There's talks of him going to Red Bull. Just quickly before we go racing, how important is it for prospects who want to be above F3 level to be part of these young driver academies with F1 teams? Because some don't seem to be so bothered about it. Some like to forge their own path.
It's good to have the lineage. If you're in a junior programme, you've got that direct connection to the Formula 1 teams. They can help you with preparation. They often give you opportunities to be in the garage, experience maybe the Formula 1 paddock, but it's not absolutely necessary. We've seen drivers who are hotly tipped for the top.
Slater is a good example.
He's unaffiliated at the moment with F1 teams, but he's still going on doing great things. He's signed with one of the best teams and Trident next year in FIA F3. So it's a different opportunities come with different ways of doing it. There's no one right way, but to have the seal of approval from an F1 team, it means that at least you're on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look out for Kiana Alazari's car, part of the Alpine Academy. It's bright pink. You won't miss it. It's the second race of the weekend in the GB3 Championship here at a blustery Donington Park. So for the second time this weekend, let's go racing.
Just 5 races left to go in the 2025 GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. And as much as Alex Ninovic cannot win the championship in this race, he can move one step closer to being crowned champion later on this afternoon. If not, he's going to have to wait until we go to Monza and our season finale. Let's take a look at the circuit we'll be racing at, because of course it's the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit with 2 DRS zones and some iconic corners to run through Redgate at turn 1, dropping down the hill to the old hairpin before rising up, going through the Schwanz curve and into McGlade, up to Coppers and down the back end of the circuit to the Fogarty S, then into Melbourne and Goddard. Out onto the Wheatcroft Straight, where we have DRS as well as we have down into the Fogarty S. 2.5 miles all the way around, 18 laps of racing around this iconic circuit. Certainly some drivers on the grid will see this as their favourite circuit they race out all season, as much as we go to the likes of the iconic Spa, Hungaroring, Monza and Zandvoort as well out in Europe. There is something about being home, and there is something about racing around a circuit like this. It is very unique in its own right. There is Alex Ninovic, our championship leader. Of course, he'll be starting from second on the grid. Important to note, of course, that championship lead is 85 points. By the end of the weekend, he will be. Oh, there has been some contact here. So Noah Lyle has returned into pit lane. So someone's driven into the back of him with that rear wing. Not sure as to who the second car is in with him. I think it's Enzo Tarnvanichkul on the right-hand side. So a couple of cars missing on this starting grid. Whilst I say that, Ninovic needs to leave the weekend with 102 points of a championship lead. because of that, he can build that 102-point lead in this race, but then he'd need to hold it in the next one. So we will be focusing on that a little bit more in the race a little bit later on this afternoon, as long as he keeps within the boundary where he can score enough points to build that gap over his championship rivals. Of course, second in the championship is Patrick Heuzenroeder, who's got himself a good 23 points over Jean-Marco Pradel. Then it's Deegan Fairclough and Reza Seewooruthun there, who starts from pole position. So they've repaired the front wing on Enzo Tarnvanitschkel after the contact between Tarnvanitschkel and Noah Lyle. I don't believe Lyle will be coming out from this race. We're getting word that he is retired from this race because it's been rear wing damage on Lyle's car. So he is a retirement from this second race before it's even begun. It would technically go down as a DNS, but that is a bit of a shock after he got driven into. We didn't see when he got driven into, but it must have been going down to the final corner before even the formation lap has started, which now has begun. So we can see them working our way round. So Reza Seewooruthun will be starting from pole position alongside championship leader Alex Ninovic for the Rodin Motorsport team. It's Liam McNeely on his debut weekend up in third position, which is absolutely fantastic, alongside Deegan Fairclough in fourth. The high-tech TGR team aiming for yet another podium. Noah Lyle will not be starting from fifth position, and Enzo Tarnvanitschkel, I'm not sure, will be allowed to start from the third row either, so he might have to be starting from the pit lane. Patricio Gonzalez will start alongside Patrick Heuzenroeder, who currently sits second in the championship. Then it's Kabir Anurag starting from ninth, and Lucas Fluschi, who had a fantastic drive up the field, he'll be starting from 10th place. Keanu Alazari from 11th, Rodrigo Gonzalez from 12th position for the VRD Racing team. Still a few drivers left to go through, with Jack Sherwood and Bart Harrison on his debut for the JHR Developments team starting from 14th position. Kai Darianani from 15th. Abby Pulling, of course, was one of the drivers that was disqualified from qualifying, starting from 16th position, but worked her way up the order brilliantly yesterday. There was a grid penalty for Max Taylor, who's dropped back a few spots in the Race Lab team to 17th. Bianca Bustamante will be starting from 18th position. The final row of the grid, of course, will be Flynn Jacks and Jean-Marco Pradel. So drama before the race has even started. Piers Pryor has now rushed his way up into the commentary booth, and yeah, contact not even on the formation lap. It was before even that.
It's basically driving to the grid, but no, it's the drivers. We didn't see it, but the drivers, you can see working very, very hard, weaving left and right, using the brakes, accelerating hard to try and get as much tyre temperature as they possibly can, because it's so cold out there, and these tyres, no tyre warmers at all, no tyre blankets. They are very much at ambient temperature conditions, which is, well, 12 degrees, it's what it's saying, but it feels cooler than that down on the assembly area. And the operating temperature of these tyres will be somewhere in the 80s, I would imagine, 90 degrees potentially. That's all that energy has to be made through basically putting energy through the tyre, braking, accelerating and weaving, and maybe Tarnvanitschkel putting two and two together, pushing hard to get some temperature in the brakes in the last corner. Noah Lyle just slowing up a bit more than he expected. Easily done, but they'll have a look at that certainly, because if you're causing a competitor to not finish the race, and that's not exactly conducive to fair racing. But I'm sure it wasn't deliberate. Tarnvanitschkel wants to go racing fairly, and he'll be going from the end of pit lane. He'll be trying to carve his way through the field.
Does mean there's a couple of drivers, Patricio Gonzalez and Patrick Heuzenroeder, who have a clear entire row ahead of them. You can see there on the field. But either way, we are getting ready to go racing for round number 20 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Reza Seewooruthun starting from his first pole position in the championship. Poor start from Liam McNeely, though, from third position. He's going to get swallowed up instantly by Deegan Fairclough, as is our pole sitter as well. Reza Seewooruthun has dropped back behind Alex Ninovic. The championship leader takes over the lead of the race as we head into Redgate. Good hold, though, for fourth for McNeely, who was able to keep the VRD racing car of Gonzalez at bay. Patricio Gonzalez remains then in that fifth position, but a perfect start for our championship leader.
Yeah, we're fairly cleanly through the first two corners. There's one of the XL cars. I think that was Sherwood making a move on Alazari. Or was that Kabir Anurag? No, it's Sherwood. Sherwood on the grass. Oh, the grass is still wet this morning, and now that looks like defensive is going Deegan Fairclough trying to get through. Hang on, yeah, defensive going. So it's a fight between McNeely and Fairclough. McNeely, actually, I think he's right outside our commentary, but I think he went
a second or so early, stopped and then went again, which is what caused him to have that sluggish start off the line. But the front two, our front row away cleanly and pulling a gap already.
I understand nerves being extremely high out there on the circuit. That's Lucas Flusha in the red and black hill speed car. There was Jack Sherwood in the white and purple XL car that was taking a lot of the curb, and now going defensive in the background to try and keep Kai Darianani at bay as they work their way. Excuse me, I'll correct myself. It's Bart Harrison who's on the attack for JHR Developments. There's McNeely defending from Patricio Gonzalez, and a more couple of lockups there. I think that might have been one of the XL cars.
Yeah, Rodrigo Gonzalez losing a position to Max Taylor. Race Lab running Max Taylor this weekend. Their first taste of the GB3 Championship. They got top 10 on the road yesterday, but unfortunately contact with McNeely yesterday saw Taylor take a grid penalty today. Is making moves in the background. That is Kai Darianani, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the number 88 making a move up the inside. Let's have a look. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Ninovic. Ninovic was moving.
He crawled.
Well, I don't know. That was close. We couldn't see where the lights were, but everyone else was stationary when Ninovic started going. So potentially that contributed to his excellent start. We'll see if anything comes through as DRS is enabled on this second lap now. We saw how powerful that DRS and slipstream was yesterday.
Yeah, there's Keanu Alazari out wide. One difference between yesterday and today, though, is the headwind going on this straight. Coming from the stretch is not as strong. It's about half the strength that it was yesterday. Still, DRS is going to make quite an effort as here comes Patrick Heuzenroeder to try and get past Patricio Gonzalez to the outside of the fog at TS, over the curb onto the right-hand side, works his way through. Lucas Flusha also going to come through in the red and black hill speed.
That was stupendous from Heuzenroeder there. Is now looking out the inside with 3 abreast going into the Melbourne hairpin. That was a bold move.
Oh, that was so good. And Patricio Gonzalez was the one who had such excellent braking control going there. So Patricio Gonzalez in the charcoal grey and red highlighted VRD car has worked his way through. There is the bright pink of Keanu Alazari trying to get his way past Kabir Anurag.
Yeah, so it was Kabir Anurag earlier in the race that was fighting with. Now Heuzenroeder looks at the inside once again. So these drivers have swapped positions 3 times in 4 corners. First of all, Heuzenroeder got through. Then Gonzalez got through back again. As airtime for Keanu Alazari in the pink car as he's fighting hard with Kabir Anurag.
Getting some feisty fights here in GB3 as our race leader sets the fastest lap and checks away by 2.1 seconds over Reza Seewooruthun. Deegan Fairclough behind, some big gaps appearing between that lot, but not big gaps appearing in these battles, that's for sure. Here comes a look to the outside, the number 3, the red and black car there of Lucas Flusha trying to get past Patricio Gonzalez. You'll note the 2 VRD cars, there's 2 Gonzalez in one. It's Patricio in the red and Rodrigo in the pink. And yes, it should be the other way. Pink Patricio, red Rodrigo. There is Enzo Tarnvanichkul having a terrible start to this race.
Yeah, of course we saw him go from the pit lane. He's pushing very hard to try and catch up to the back of the pack. He's pushing too hard through Coppets, running through the gravel. That will hurt his race time and also potentially add a bit of gravel rash to the bottom of his car. The Flora is now the 78 in the right of shot, the white with the pink XL car looking to the outside. Keanu Alazari is further back as well. We've got side by side. Oh, turned round is the 88. Oh, unfortunate for Kai Darianani. He was an innocent party there. I think that was a move from a driver behind. Unfortunately, just getting caught out as Alazari and Sherwood still side by side out of the last corner.
Sherwood getting bold on the outside here. We'll have DRS open, but Keanu Alazari gets DRS and slipstream as well. But there goes Sherwood looking to the inside, trying to commit to the move at Redgate in the number 78 XL car. White, purple and pink all over that car, but could not quite find his way through the bright pink that you cannot miss, of course. There of Keanu Alazari. Now Bart Harrison on debut is in the tow, in the slipstream and ready for a move to get into the top 10.
Yeah, that was Anurag running wide on the exit of the old hairpin. As much as the wind isn't as strong as yesterday, it's still very much present and gusting a little bit. A big move up the inside of McGlade from Keanu Alazari in the number 6 pink BWT liveried high-tech. And that's a big move. And it looks like we have a safety car deployed. Just before the safety car, Anurag goes off.
Yeah, nearly pointed the screen so fast and he punched Piers in the face. But alas, it's because Darianani's car that's been spun round has been unable to refire and get back going again. So the safety car is deployed then for the first time here in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC here on Sunday. But it's a bit of an odd one that he's not been able to refire it, because they do have onboard starters, but that doesn't. It's not a foolproof system.
No, basically, it looked like Darianani was on the power and just got tagged. So he spun around, stalled the car, Looked like he got it started because he's in a different position than when he actually finished up. But sometimes if you stall again, then either the starter mode doesn't have quite enough power to get you going again, because these engines, once they're hot, they can be quite hard to restart once again. Really unfortunate, not really much that Kai Darianani can do. Really feel for him there. He's often at the wrong end of the stick in terms of luck. He's been quick at times this year. Oh, actually.
Oh, he has been.
Maybe after a moment or a minute or so cooling, has allowed to got him going again. But he will be now a lap down, and if that was the only cause of our safety car, we hope that means we can get going fairly short. I'm not sure what the rule is about causing a safety car. That's a bit because if you cause a red flag, you can't rejoin the new start. But
I think safety car is different.
I think he'll be all right to continue on. But again, he is a lap down, so he's not really going to take anything away from this race, unfortunately for Darianani. This is good for the likes of Tarvanichkul and Anurag, who have both had issues in this race already. They were 6 seconds off the back of the field. They will now be joining the snake of cars, and the confirmation bottom left of your screen, the safety car will be in this lap. Ninovic, we saw him yesterday, had 2 opportunities at safety car restarts. The first one wasn't the best. The second one didn't actually mean anything because he basically drove to the line. But the second safety car restart was more effective. He had a bigger gap that time by. So he'll be trying to take the learnings from yesterday's safety car restarts. And he's actually dropped off the back of the safety car very early. The safety car lights are still on. I think technically you should still stay within fairly close to the back of the safety car until the lights are out. So I don't know. I don't think there'll be any repercussions of that, but will be one to look out for Alex Ninovic in future, because if it's a pattern of that, he may be getting some attention for that.
I know obviously you just pay attention to the lights, but I'm pretty sure that in the time prior, the lights technically or generally go out before the fog. So maybe he'd been told in his radio, safety cars in this lap, and just kind of autopiloted it. Either way, the safety car is into the pit lane, and Alex Ninovic will retake the control. He once again sets sail whilst he comes out of the penultimate corner, onto the brakes into the final one, and we are back to racing then around the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit with still plenty of time left to go and 13 laps of racing. Can Ninovic hang on from Reza Seewooruthun, who is under pressure now from Deegan Fairclough, of course, a driver who he's been teammates with in years prior, of course, out in British Formula 4. Can he hang on? Yeah,
it's a disappointingly slow restart actually from Reza Seewooruthun, giving away 0.6 of a second over the line when you should be right underneath the rear wing of your competitor. Good job from Ninovic nonetheless, so he's partly responsible for that. But unfortunately Seewooruthun, he's given away any opportunity of attacking for the lead on this first lap as Ninovic pulls clear. I think that gap looks visually bigger than 0.6 as it was over the line, and now Seewooruthun, as you mentioned, Lewis, is going to be under pressure from Fairclough. McNeely doing well to hold it there in 4th. Heuzenroeder on the move in 5th.
Couple of drivers very close, couple of drivers going for me. Bianca Bustamante getting passed by Enzo Tarvanichkul, who's been able now, obviously, with a drama of not even the formation lap where he lost his front wing, had to start the race from the pit lane, then had that moment going through Coppich, but now with that safety car has rejoined the fight. Good gain here, Deegan Fairclough massively over the curve there in that number 7 high-tech TGR car with the Rocket sponsorship. That was full commitment going through the Fogarty S.
I was about to say, Lewis, I think that Fairclough's going to be lining Seewooruthun up for a move into the Melbourne hairpin, and was clearly trying to carry as much speed as possible through the Fogarty S's to give himself the best opportunity of that. But unfortunately, taking too much curb in the middle of the corner, harming his exit, and we've got a full start, 10-second penalty, 4-hour race leader. Ninovic, car 12 there, bottom of the screen. 10-second penalty, jump start, as well as the 48, which is Liam McNeely. So my eyes did not deceive me.
You might be approaching 30, but your eyes are still working perfectly fine, Piers. But yes,
a couple of years come on now.
Alex Ninovic, though, and that is important for the championship. We'll keep our eyes locked to that one. But I mean, to be fair, he might not lose too much here, because he is already running away from the field, and he'll be told by that on the radio. Now we get to see Alex Ninovic in full push. The only thing he'll be praying about is he gets the full race distance in, which at this point we will be, but also that there will be no further safety car interventions. If that happens, he is in serious trouble when it comes to the points.
Yeah, he will. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't make a huge difference to his championship position, such as the strength of his lead at the moment, but he'll want to take another win. And I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that he could gap the rest of the field by 10 seconds, such as his pace advantage. His fastest lap of the race is more than a second faster than any other driver at this stage of the race. Such as the pace as Fairclough, looking late up the inside of the Melbourne hairpin, can't quite get it done.
Do you reckon these two will have been told? So obviously you've got Seewooruthun there, you've got Fairclough there as well. I'm sure one of them would have been, but would they be told about that 10-second time penalty from Alex Ninovic?
Yeah.
And then they know this is the battle for the victory.
Almost certainly, the teams of both Seewooruthun and Fairclough will be on the radios to them saying, Ninovic 10-second penalty. 10 seconds is they will think unlikely that Ninovic is going to pull that much of a gap over them if they don't fight too heavily. So they will know that this is net fight for the lead. Ultimately, it won't change their approach a huge amount, but they'll know that it's very important in terms of taking the race win. But if they fight too much, I mean, the gap is already 3 seconds after a couple of flying laps. The last lap, 22.9 from Ninovic, 24.1 from Seewooruthun. That is 1.2 seconds. How many laps we've got left? About 10. That would take us to over 10 seconds. But I don't imagine Ninovic is going to be able to hold up that pace for the remainder of the race.
Lucas Flusha was attacking Patricio Gonzalez for 6th position as well. Gonzalez was defensive as he worked his way through the right-hander at Coppice. Let's see how close it is going into the fog at ES. They worked their way through. Seewooruthun, I say, might be finding a little bit more speed. Once again, a purple middle sector coming in as over the curve on the right-hand side there was Harrison. He's got Gianmarco Pradell, who's come through. Remember that Pradell has started from 20th position on this grid.
Yeah.
Oh, so Abby Pulling, never mind, I can read.
Yes, Naby Pulling in the number 9 Rodent car with the pink highlights. Just back briefly to our race leader, Ninovic. His last lap time of 22.9. No one else was in the 23s, let alone the 22s. Pole position, 1:23. So he's quicker, almost by a second, than he was in qualifying. Granted, conditions slightly different, but he's absolutely pushing 10 tenths at the moment to try and get that gap out. At the moment, he would be in 12th place. He's going to be higher than that if he continues on at this pace. He's just praying, hoping the Rodin team as well will be praying that there's no more safety car interventions.
He's only 4 seconds away from having that 10-second time penalty and still being ahead of the driver who sits second in the championship, Patrick Heuzenroeder. There is the look with Kai Darianani, who's back in this fight but is a lap down on the drivers that he's battling with, so technically can't battle too hard for them, but good to know that car is all fired up and working fine.
Yeah, it's a weird one if you're a lap down, because he'll feel that he's faster than these drivers around him, but at the same time, it's a weird, because you want to push and get some experience and gain some overtaking opportunities and some confidence, and you paid to be on circuit, so you're entitled to be there, but at the same time you don't want to get involved in an incident with drivers that aren't even on the same lap as you. As Heuzenroeder just has a feint to the inside, causes a small lock-up from McNeely, but just about makes the apex, does McNeely, nose to tail, and a number of different clusters up and down the field as McNeely now defensive in the last corner.
Yeah, certainly so. There comes another couple of looks in the background, a couple of touches as well as they work their way through these final complexes of corners. We are halfway through this race, 9 down, 9 to go. At this rate, we are getting the full 18 laps in, as here comes a look down the inside from Patrick Heuzenroeder, but Liam McNeely shuts the door and tries to hang on at the moment. It does seem as though that gap is growing and growing and growing at the front, and I don't think Patrick Heuzenroeder is going to be finishing within 10 seconds of his champion leader side by side through the crane of curves. Here comes Heuzenroeder to the outside. Obviously, at this rate, he's going to be finishing ahead of McNeely anyway, but he's losing time to the podium battle. Yeah.
That's actually quite smart racing from McNeely there. He knew that Heuzenroeder was right behind him, but such is the grip at the moment, and with the headwind of it's a big slide to McLean from McNeely, but such is the headwind down towards turn 1 and the grip that these cars have, it's not that big of a braking zone, so he knew if he went in fairly hot into turn number 1 that Heuzenroeder would not be able to get a full overlap, and he actually would be stronger on the exit. But now Heuzenroeder's using that headwind and DRS to try around the outside once again, and gets the move done, but McNeely's going to look for the cutback.
That was brilliant, though. Brilliant combat between them. We're seeing this battle going through the chicane. We're seeing 3 wide heading down into the Melbourne hairpin. It's McNeely on the inside, Heuzenroeder in the middle. A look from Patricio Gonzalez to the outside as well. Lucas Flusha in the red and black, the 4th car in that train, also involved in the fight. Keanu Alazari also a part of it. So Patrick Heuzenroeder has worked his way through then, and Liam McNeely is getting hung out to dry here as we come out onto the Wheatcroft straight once again.
Oh, that in which case that move around the outside of the fog at ES's by Patrick Heuzenroeder has given him the position. That is outrageously bold to do that, and now McNeely looking around the outside. We've seen a few good moves around the outside this weekend already. We saw Noah Lye around the outside of turn 1, only to be outdone by Lucas Flusha later in the race, and Flusha now is side by side with Gonzalez as well and takes that position down towards the crane of curves. He is now up into 6th place.
Yeah, indeed. This is, like I say, time's running out for some of these drivers to make that progress, especially when they're getting stuck behind McNeely, who's a person that technically when they overtake, they actually gain nothing from doing it. So it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, you've got to get boot by to get the time, but realistically, you're not actually going to gain any extra points from it because you're already going to gain those after the 10-second time penalty, which you can see. I mean, things are looking good for Ninovic.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ninovic is actually net in the middle of this group at the moment, and with this group fighting, they're going to be losing time to Ninovic, who's still, in fact, the last lap, he went even quicker than his best lap of the race at 22.9. Again, 9/10 of a second quicker than anyone else, actually 9/10 quicker than Seewooruthun, a good 6/10 quicker than Fairclough in third, so still opening the gap is Ninovic at the front of the field in a class of his own. He would be net 5th or 6th place at the moment, and we'll keep an eye on that as now his teammate Jean-Marco Pradel goes up the inside of Jack Sherwood into Goddard's.
Yeah, brilliant move from Pradel. If he can kind of just sort this one out, but he's going to have side-by-side from Sherwood. He's going to try and hold on down to Redgate. It's got to be very brave coming in from Jean-Marco Pradel going into that opening corner at Redgate, but of course Sherwood's going to go in deep now. Max Taylor's trying to fit his way into the background in that number 2 car. They're going to go side-by-side potentially down the Craners. I'm not sure that one's going to be a wise one for Pradel. He's done a brilliant job to work his way up now into what is 10th position for him at the moment, from 20th on the grid with still 7 laps left to go in this race.
Yeah, it's 10th on the road. He may well inherit another position as well due to McNeely dropping down the order after that false start penalty. But actually really good racing there from the two of them, Sherwood and Pradel. Pradel looked like he got the move done, but was side by side at the exit, still gave Sherwood room at the exit. Respectful racing, that's what we want to see. I like to see cars go side by side up to the edge of the circuit limits, but not causing contact and not forcing another driver off, as we now cut back to Flusha, who's right underneath the rear wing of Liam McNeely. McNeely in the mostly white car, Flusha in the mostly red car.
Yeah, indeed. And you can see Patrick Heuzenroeder's checked out from this, but he is not within the 10 seconds he needs to be of Alex Ninovic. There comes a look from Keanu Alazari, trying to get to the outside of the number 35 of Patricio Gonzalez, dipping 2 wheels into the grass on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. I'm not sure that was in Piers Pryor's talking points as to how to go through the penultimate corner quickly, and you were talking me through qualifying?
Yes, that was a right front lock-up, outside tyre lock-up there from, I think that's a 78 Sherwood, so that gave him a poor exit. Now he's defending once again. Jean-Marco Pradel, the 21, with the black car with the white stripe down the middle, chasing the 78 with the white with the blue and pink. That's Sherwood. These are for positions 9 and 10 provisionally, would be 8 and 9 after McNeely's penalty provisionally as well. We're also seeing that the safety car restart has been noted. Maybe that was Ninovic slowing off the back that I alluded to earlier. We'll keep you posted if we hear any more about that. We know that penalty already in for Ninovic after the jump start. The safety car restart as well, as we get an absolutely lovely slow-mo through the Fogarty S's, just showing how much energy goes through these cars at absolutely maximum speed.
Yeah, they can use quite a lot more curb, I've noticed, through the Fogarty S compared to where they were last year. So they can
even the start of this year.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, the start of this year there was some metal blocks on this part of the curb that everyone's driving over. In my opinion, those metal blocks are actually quite dangerous. A number of cars have been sent airborne over the years hitting those, but they've replaced the curb. It's now bumpy, so still slower to use, but is much less dangerous to the drivers. So I think I must say impressed by the changes they made at that corner from Donington Park and the Motorsport Vision team.
But do remember, of course, these drivers had never seen that, or hadn't seen that curve this year, because of course these drivers are maybe, for instance, the first time they raced at Donington Park. GB4 is different. Obviously, also yes. To go back to the, just touching on the safety car restart, we'll talk through Jean-Marco Pradel's attempt once again to get past Sherwood. That one's not going to work. That safety car restart is noted by race control. It doesn't mean that there's going to be a penalty or anything to come from it. It just means that they'll be taking a look at it post-race. And trust me, race control are going to be busy today with 5 races across GB3 and GB4. I've seen the penalty list that came out from GB4. If you didn't watch that race, go back and watch it. It was mental. And there is a lot of penalties that have come out of that one. That championship fight will be coming down to the wire at the end of the day. I'm
just going to draw attention to Alex Ninovic. I know we've spoken about him a lot this year, being at the front of the field, dominating races. I've been keeping half an eye. His lap times have been absolutely metronomic. Fastest lap of the race was 22.9. He did a lap after the fast lap, which is a 22.95. The last lap just gone by 23.0. So he's lapping within a tenth of a second every single lap, and each one of those laps is 4 or 5 tenths faster than any other driver, and that's how he's extending this gap to what will be, I imagine, over 7 seconds to second place as we come over the line. His gap the 10-second penalty would currently slot him in somewhere around 4th or 5th place. We'll see that update as we come over the line. I think it may even be 4th this time, but yes, he's currently sitting in a net 4th place, ahead of his championship nearest challenger, Patrick Heuzenroeder.
It'll be a net 3rd. Because obviously Seewooruthun and Fairclough will go through, so Minovich will back into 3rd position. There comes a look from Max Taylor down the inside on Gianmarco Pradell. So Pradell's unable to get through. There will be, at least on time as well, was on the lap count, 4 laps left to go in this race. We'll be taking this down to the final few seconds, let me tell you. Abbey pulling as well, going side by side with Bar Harrison as they work their way through the fast right-hander at the bottom of the hill at the old hairpin. Harrison trying to keep Abbey Pulling at bay. Pulling going for the up and under. Had a great drive up the field yesterday and trying to do very much the same thing here today. Yeah,
Pulling was 17th to 7th yesterday on the road and trying to do something similar today. This battle for 13th place. Bart Harrison in his first weekend in the GB3 Championship. Bart is a driver that makes me feel old. Last year I raced in karts was 2021. I was a senior, he was a junior. And now we're commentating on him in the GB3 Championship. He's a driver that's potentially looking at joining us in the future. A talent for the future, that's for sure. We cut back to Max Taylor, the number 2 there for Race Lab. Looking up the inside of the 21, white highlighted Gianmarco Pradell and Enzo Tarvanichko, the driver that had front wing damage before the race start, getting involved in this battle. That safety car helping him get on the back of the group earlier in the race.
Yeah, the Red Bull back driver trying to get through on Gianmarco Pradell. Big move to the outside, gets one. Maybe is he going to get the 2? Does Taylor know he's there? No, he doesn't. So, well, he probably does, but still pushes him out wide and holds on to the position and he's rightly able to do so. And Enzo Tarvanichko going back on the attack on the race down into the opening corner at Redgate. Can he get through? There's only 3.5 bit laps left to go.
That was a tasty move around the outside of the last corner there. Good racecraft from Tarvanichko. He saw that Pradell was following Max Taylor into the last corner on the inside line and was going to be a bit slowed up on the entry. Tarvanichko carried a lot more speed around the outside, got ahead before the apex, although he's made a mistake in the old hairpin. Now Pradell is getting around the outside and that'll give him the inside for McLean, so all that hard work at the last corner undone with a slight error. Again, potentially caused by the still fairly blustery wind out there here at Donington Park.
Yeah, certainly not as windy as it was yesterday, but it's not calm out there when it comes to the wind. It does blow and it does change direction through the race. It kind of flips about 90 degrees around here quite often, where it's just gusts, especially down at the bottom of the hill where you've got that dip in the valley. Penultimate lap about to be started from Alex Ninovich, and he's 8.3 seconds ahead of Reza Seewooruthun. Now, start doing some maths. Can he do it?
He could do this. 2 more laps remaining. This one and 1 more. Gap is, what's this over the line? I reckon it's going to be in the 9-second range. Let's have a quick look. It'll update it here. 9.3. And he was in that last lap. He set his best lap of the race on that last lap. His tyres are now at least 16 laps old. In fact, if anything, I think he had new right-hand side tyres only. So the left-hand side tyres who did yesterday's race also. 22.8 that last lap. 23.8 from Seewooruthun. So a second a lap. He only needs to find another 7/10 over Seewooruthun to win the race with a 10-second penalty. This is just... I mean... What more can you say, Lewis? I've not seen domination like this in the GB3 Championship, I don't think.
It's one of those ones where you can sit back and maybe say, oh, well, the championship fight won't go, at this rate, probably isn't going to go the way to, all the way to the end of the season at Monza. But you can sit back and think, I mean, what are we seeing here from Ninovich? This is it puts a smile on my face as someone driving this well at the moment and absolutely dominating. The gap likely to be around the 10-second mark as we begin the final lap of the race. We've got 30 seconds left to go on the clock, but that won't matter because we still have that final lap left to do. Into the final corner to begin that final lap. What will the gap be at the line for Alex Ninovich? 10 seconds of time penalty for jumping the race start. He'll cross the line and the clock will begin here just to see what it's going to be. But what an impressive drive. Yeah, very impressive. I'm just having a look because obviously we had a very big race-winning margin with Reza Seewooruthun at Hungaroring, didn't we? But that was a reverse grid race. Reza's now being on the receiving end of a large race win, and that 10-second gap is confirmed. 10.1 seconds last time by once again. Our leader, faster, 23.0 again, so very, very quick. Another 8/10 he found on that lap. There you can see the lap time comparisons, the last few laps. Lap 15, a 23.0 plays a 23.8, a 22.8 plays a 23.8, and a 23.0 plays a 23.8. So very consistent times from Seewooruthun as well, but not fast enough. It was, what was it, Lewis? 16.585 for Seewooruthun.
Yes, but that was a reverse grid race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not taking any away from that victory from Reza Seewooruthun. That was a dominant on that day. But Ninovic, I mean, he qualified second in this grid. Got away from the line, yeah, granted, with a jump start. But I think ultimately, with this level of pace advantage over the rest of the field, even the drivers in second and third, I think it would have been a foregone conclusion anyway. So, and the man that is going to almost certainly be the champion this year, showing why he is going to be the champion this year.
Indeed, through the final corner he's going to go. We'll have to wait to have it fully confirmed. We'll have to wait the 10 seconds to see if there's been an unbelievable lap from Seewooruthun, but across the line, at least for now, Ninovic will take victory. There's a little bit of a battle happening here for 10th, for second place between the number 10 and the number 7, but it is going to be Seewooruthun hanging on. What's the gap going to be? It will drop down now to 1.3 seconds because the gap was 11 at the line. So Alex Ninovic for the 8th time will win here this season in GB3. Absolutely incredible from the championship leader.
There we have it. Ninovic, dominant performance. One mistake only, but he rectified it with his outstanding pace. Reza Seewooruthun, he'll be content with a second place. Disappointed not to take the win, but when the man who's leading the championship is that much quicker than everyone else, I think he'll take it. Holding off Deegan Fairclough as well. And Pat Heuzenroeder, he's in 4th. Another solid result for Pat. He's looking to try and consolidate that second place in the championship as well.
Yeah, indeed. A few penalties then to have been dealt with. Like I said, we had the one from Ninovic, we had the one from McNeely. We also had Harrison and Rodrigo Gonzalez also with post-race time penalties to be added on. But of course, the results are very much provisional, and unfortunately, our race control will be hard at work to make sure that everything's set for race 3 later on this day.
I'll let you do the actual maths, Lewis, but just off the top of my head, I think Deegan Fairclough may now be in 3rd place in the championship after Gianmarco Pradel finishes in 10th. It's going to be close. I'll let you confirm that later on once you've had a chance to plug in the numbers and names and do all your wizardry. Other drivers to note in that one, another good result for Lucas Flusha. He had a good race yesterday, once again finishing 5th again today. Patricio Gonzalez joined us only for the first time at Brands Hatch. Now inside the top 10. He was there, fighting yesterday for the VRDT team. We saw him a lot in this race. 6th place. Alazari was up and down in 7th. Sherwood, 8th place. He'll be pretty happy with that. Fighting inside the top 10 once again. Max Taylor, yesterday, was inside the top 10 on the road. We know he was involved in that incident with Neil McNeely. And then Gianmarco Pradel in 10th. McNeely dropped down to 13th after his jump start penalty, of course, not being able to put out a 10-second lead like this man right there.
There we go. Out of the car, Alex Ninovic climbs. I can confirm on the points, by the way. At the moment, this is, again, very provisional, but there is a 99-point lead in the championship for Alex Ninovic. That means that in the race later on in the day, if everything stays as it is, he would need to outscore Patrick Heuzenroeder by 3 points if he wants to win the championship here at Donington Park. That might be a little bit difficult because Heuzenroeder will be starting ahead of him, and Alex Ninovic isn't normally the absolute fastest at working his way through the field. He can do the overtakes, but he plays the long game in the championship. We'll have to wait and see if he can do it here or not. It would be Heuzenroeder, Pradel, and of course Deegan Fairclough in behind in that top 4, but the gap's closing up, just 8 points separating Gianmarco Pradel and Deegan Fairclough. There's your look at Fairclough back onto the podium, still unable to take a victory. He's had 5 podiums this season and is the highest placed driver in the championship without a race victory. It was one that we were maybe expecting to see quite a few of as the season would begin, but alas, they've eluded him for now. Still with 4 more races left to go in this season. You've got to say there's surely a race win out there somewhere for Deegan Fairclough. His teammate Keanu Alazari had one back in race number 2 at Silverstone with a streak of some very, very good results, of course. He had 4 podiums back then, Keanu Alazari, and Deegan Fairclough is kind of in that realm of some solid, consistent points, some consistent podiums from him. So yeah, great effort. And then for Reza Seewooruthun, I mean, again, back-to-back podiums, finished in 2nd place in yesterday's race to Alex Ninovic. But I'm wondering as to those drivers that finished in 2nd and 3rd, as to what they were thinking about their position in that race. As to maybe it was a done deal, 10-second time benefit for Alex Ninovic. There was no way we were going to be able to, no way he's going to be able to build that gap, and we were definitely battling for the victory. And Alex Ninovic said, absolutely not. We'll head down to Jon Jackson though to catch up with our top 3.
Well, Alex, 10-second penalty. I mean, no problem for you.
Yeah, I know. very nerve-wracking race, to be honest. Having to try and open that gap was quite rewarding at the end, but during the race it was quite nerve-wracking. And yeah, I'm really happy with the result. Still to get the win is amazing, and the car felt amazing. Gave me the opportunity to really show what the car and myself are capable of, so I can't thank Rodin Motorsport enough for that.
I mean, you must have been counting down the laps there, hoping there was no safety car or anything like that, because we were all watching that time get bigger and bigger and bigger, knowing that 10 seconds was the magic number. We saw that you were 10 seconds ahead of Pat, and then 10 seconds ahead of everyone else now.
Yeah, I was looking at the laps counting down, and I was like, please don't have a safety car, because that could obviously ruin it quite a lot. So yeah, lucky to not have the safety car, and then on my end to open the gap is quite impressive.
And 3 points now that you have to finish ahead of Patrick Heuzenroeder at the end of the weekend to clinch the championship. He does start ahead of you, but I mean, you've won 2 races so far. You must be pretty confident you can make up some places in this reverse grid race later.
Yeah, the pace is obviously there, so yeah, I'm quite confident that we'll be fast in the reverse, but obviously no risks taken. We're at a point in the championship where we can wrap it up, so yeah, just have fun out there, I reckon.
I mean, wrapping it up before the final round will be a huge achievement in itself. At this stage, and I know you're going to say no, do you think you're the champion?
Oh, it's close enough.
Yeah, that was more than I was expecting to get out of you. Look, congratulations. That was an epic drive, one that's going to go down in the GB3 memory books for a long time. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team.
Thank you.
There we go, Alex Sinovich with Rodin Motorsport. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. I believe, oh, here we go, Reza Seewooruthun's coming in. I mean, a great race, but I mean, you must be a little bit frustrated there, because the win, it felt, I mean, it was in your grasp, but I mean, when someone's winning by 10 seconds over a penalty, it's not a lot you can do.
No, I just struggled a bit with pace there. Start was unfortunate. I didn't know that it was jump start, but I knew that he had a penalty, but just struggled really with pace to stay with him. So it's unfortunate, but learn from it and try and pick up the pace for the final race. When
you know that the driver in front is kind of trying to get that 10-second gap, and if you could just maybe keep it under 10 seconds, that you would get the race win, I mean, that's stressful for you in the car.
Yeah, it's stressful trying to keep up with them, trying not to do track limits, because if you could do some track limits, you'd be able to gain it a bit more, but I think did what we could. Some mistakes by me in the final sector cost that for me, but frustrating, but we'll move on from it.
Still a very positive result for you, great weekend so far. What are you expecting from the reverse grid race later?
Just make up as many places as possible. I think our race pace is normally really good. Tyre deck doesn't seem to affect us that much, so just send some big moves and collect some points.
We saw a lot of people having photos with you yesterday in your garage. Have you got as many people, if not more, here today?
Yeah, I think there's 27 or 30 at dinner last night who went out. I'm fortunate to have lots of supporters and family and friends that come every weekend to support me, but yeah, it's nice.
Did you pick up the tab?
So I was supposed to with the cheque that I got given, but I didn't have it with me, so I was going to take that back for that one.
I was a little bit worried there that the cheque had bounced, but we're okay. Look, congratulations on another podium.
Thank you very much.
Here we go. Just to clarify, the money is good, don't worry, the cheque won't bounce. Deegan, another podium for you. How was that race out there for you? Because it's a little bit of an anomaly when you got someone winning by such a huge margin despite getting a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit annoying, but yeah, we had the pace. We just couldn't get by in the dirty air. The first 2 sectors are quite high speed, and the last sector is where you really want to get the overtake done. But yeah, the dirty air was a bit of a struggle. Had a few opportunities to go for an overtake, but it was a little bit too risky. We just wanted to bag the points, and yeah, we're pretty pleased. Another podium. We can't complain. Good points in the championship, and we look forward to the race. Reverse grid race. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head remember where you're starting, but are there positions to be made up there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yesterday Abby was able to go from the back to P8, so it's definitely a chance. We just have to bide our time and think smart, keep our head screwed on.
Hey, I'm sure you'll do that. We look forward to it, and we'll watch you later.
Perfect, thank you.
There we go, Deegan Fairclough with another podium for High-Tech TGR in GB3. Let's go and watch them get their trophies on the podium with Lewis.
No new drivers onto the podium though, was again, all these drivers have been on the podium this season. Absolutely fantastic to see a return to the podium for the likes of Lidovic, Fairclough and Seewooruthun. You can understand the frustrations there for Fairclough, but again, that was just the pace of Alex Ninovic, our race winner 8 times this season. It's an impressive feat, and looking back through the history books of, at least since it was rebranded to GB3, the GB3 era that started the midpoint of 2021, no driver has won this many races in a single season, and we still have 4 more races to deal with. Again, it's maybe unlikely that he'll actually be crowned champion in the next race. Not impossible though, but he's got to outscore Heuzenroeder by 3 points. There on the podium is Deegan Fairclough for the 5th time this season. Reza Seewooruthun as well for the 5th time this season onto the podium. But of course, he did have a victory earlier on the season. It was back-to-back podiums for Reza Seewooruthun. However, for the 9th time on the podium and for the 8th victory, including 4 races in the last 5. Absolutely incredible for Alex Ninovic. John Cavill then to hand out the trophies. Of course, someone behind the scenes that puts in a lot of work, effort, and a decent amount of money for the drivers to win those prizes. For example, the Jack Cavill pole position cup that Alex Ninovic was a winner in earlier on, obviously for having the most pole positions in a given season. He's had an absolutely tremendous run, and he has effectively one hand on the title. But can he win it? That we'll have to find out a little bit later on in the afternoon, if not in a couple of weeks' time at Monza. Let's go though to highlights from the race. Highlights from round 20 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and a jump start as we were beginning the race from Alex Ninovic and from Liam McNeely. A 10-second post-race time penalty would come out for Ninovic. He didn't know that at this point and was just trying to hang on to the race lead from Reza Seewooruthun as they'd worked their way through Redgate. He would hold on to that race lead as they begin their charge down the hill, and plenty of side-by-side from about 10th on back. Let's see the rest of the field go into single file action. A big look coming in from Patrick Heuzenroeder to try and move his way up the order, getting past Patricio Gonzalez with this move at Redgate before there was this moment for Enzo Tarmvinichkul off the road. Had drama, had to start from the pit lane, then had this, was into the gravel trap, was rejoining the race. However, this was the lifeline he needed. There would be a spin going through the Melbourne hairpin for Kai Darianani after being tagged. He'd be stationary and it would require a safety car. Before that safety car would come out there, there'd be this moment for Kabir Anurag, who would be off into the gravel trap himself, dropping down to the rear end of the field. The safety car would be out, would be back in, and already the field would be starting to spread out. Big moves though coming in from the likes of Patrick Heuzenroeder, with this one around the outside going through the fog at ES, trying to work his way past Liam McNeely. Patricio Gonzalez also a part of it, Lucas Flusha and Keanu Alazari all fighting over 4th position. Out through the final corner with a few laps left to go in the race. Again, they were extremely tight. For Alex Ninovic, he pulled out an 11-second margin. With a 10-second penalty, he'd still win the race by 1.1 seconds to take his 8th victory of this season. Simply incredible. Absolutely fantastic from Alex Ninovic. 1.1 seconds he would win the race by. Reza Seewooruthun in 2nd position behind, with Deegan Fairclough behind that, the 3 drivers on the podium. Patrick Heuzenroeder in 4th position with Lucas Flusha in 5th. Excellent drive for the Hill Speed team. Patricio Gonzalez in 6th with Keanu Alazari. Then Sherwood, Taylor and Gianmarco Pradell from the rear of the field all the way up into 10th place. Enzo Tarmvinichkul in 11th position, despite starting from the pit lane, is also a very impressive drive for the VRD man, with Abby pulling into 12th. Liam McNeely would drop down to 13th position with his 10-second time penalty. Then we've got Anurag in 14th. There would also be post-race time penalties for Bart Harrison, who'd be in 15th, and for Rodrigo Gonzalez in 16th, with Flynn Jacks, Bustamante and Darianani rounding out the field. The one driver missing from that is Noah Lyle, who will go down as a did not start, unfortunately. We'll take a look at the standings, of course, very provisional. 99 points is the championship lead from Alex Ninovic. He's got 432 points playing Patrick Heuzenroeder's 333, and he needs a 102-point lead by the end of this afternoon's race if he is to be crowned champion here at Donington Park. But there is a tight fight in the fight for 3rd position. Gianmarco Pradell, 300 points, 8 points clear of Deegan Fairclough, a further 4 points clear of Reza Seewooruthun, so very tight in that fight for 3rd. To be fair, I wouldn't even necessarily rule Patrick Heuzenroeder out from that one, with still 4 races left to go in the season. Keanu Alazari down in 6th position is being caught up with by Piers, who's down in the paddock.
Down here getting some live reaction, I've got Keanu Alazari because he was in the thick of the action in that one, part of that group battling for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Keanu, what was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very chaotic race at the start. Ended up in the grass and a bit of gravel a couple of times in the beginning, and then gaps sort of opened up slightly. Then the group ahead started to have a big battle, and I tried my best to join in. I felt really quick through sectors 1 and 2, and was missing a bit of pace through sector 3, so I couldn't really attack the cars ahead, but we know exactly what was up. So yeah, I was happy with that. Stayed out of trouble as best I could. And after yesterday, all I could do was just take home the points, which I really need.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunate day yesterday. You were fighting in roughly the similar position, but 2 wheels on the grass. It was really tricky yesterday. Was it the wind that caused that incident?
Not necessarily. I just slightly misjudged the grip I had. So we were struggling a little bit, everyone as a whole. Like a couple of cars went off in the gravel, even when they were battling ahead of me, and I gained a couple of places from that. But I was having a really good race. As I say, misjudged the grip and ended up a bit worse than the others. Just hit a bank in the gravel trap, which was not there the lap before, and it launched me the wrong way. So yeah, really, really unfortunate, but thankfully I was okay, and it was only a minor impact, so the car was ready to go for this morning.
Team always do a good job getting the car back in line. You know what you need to work on. One more race this weekend, reverse grid. What can you do?
Yeah, like as I say, the team worked hard last night, so I was really thankful to them. Got them a round of beers at the hotel. I think they enjoyed it. They definitely deserved it. But yeah, going into race 3, starting P4, P3, somewhere along those lines. We know exactly what to do. My starts have been good, so yeah, hopefully we can push for the win.
We look forward to a pink car flying through the grid onto the podium then.
Yeah, definitely.
Keanu, thanks so much. We'll let you go and cool off and get prepared for the final race of the weekend. Go chill out, mate. We're going to bring in Jon.
Well, I mean, that was quite a drive there, wasn't it, from Alex Ninovic? Seriously impressive from him. The wind here, everywhere we stand seems to be the windiest part.
It's picking up, that's
it
certainly.
Really is, isn't it? Have you ever seen a driver get a 10-second penalty and decide, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just win by 11 seconds?
I can't recall.
Yeah.
I can't recall. It hasn't happened very often. So the pace that Ninovic, I mean, I was just chatting to Keanu and I think it was Lucas Flusha, and I said, oh yeah, Ninovic was doing 22.9s the whole race, and they were like, 22.9.
Yeah, he's done a lot of testing here. Like I mentioned it to him yesterday. We saw him here before the start of the season doing an incredible amount of testing here at Donington. So if there's any track he wants to be getting that kind of gap as he walks past behind, smiling. Look at him.
Of course
he's
is.
very
Why would you not be
himself.
smiling?
Yeah, I know. If there's any track you want to have where you need to get a 10-second gap, it's probably the track you've done. I would imagine possibly the most testing he's done there. But seriously impressive from Alex Ninovic. We've got a lot coming up. I tell you what, you're going to really like to hear what we're going to tell you before the start of the GB4 race, because provisional grid, a provisional finishing.
Get it.
I mean, yeah. I think we're going to have to get your iPad working overtime, Piers, because I don't think I can remember it all. But we've got lots coming up. We've got the GB4 third race. It's a reverse grid race here at Donington Park, a lot earlier than we would normally have it. That is coming up in a little while. So basically, just come back and just basically stay where you are, because you'll be able to watch that race in about half an hour's time. And then we have the reverse grid race here in the GB3 Championship later this afternoon, and also a bonus Brands Hatch race that should have happened at Brands Hatch in the GB4 Championship, which is happening here to end the day. So check out all the times for that on the GB3 and the GB4 websites, and we will see you a little bit later on. And if you're sticking around for GB4, which I highly suggest you should do, we'll see you in about half an hour's time.